This is the last and final video of my project of building a Stickley 913 dresser. And this is a shot of the finished product in its home in our master bedroom. So the rest of this video is going to describe the finishing and how we got to this point. Here it is. Well, here we are. It's all sanded. Spent a better part of the day sanding it. I finished sanded it with a 180 grit. So everything's looking good. So what you see here is my fuming tent. So I had the PVC pieces up in the rafters of the garage here. I remember I used them years ago when I built a bookcase. And so I had them all cut already. Couldn't find the little fittings, so I had to go buy new ones there, about 20 bucks worth. And I reused some old plastic I had and had to buy a little bit more. So what I'm going to do now is pour a little aqua ammonia into a dish and close up the tent and let it go overnight, probably into the afternoon, and I'll check it. So we'll do that in just a few minutes. The tent is all built, sealed up, except for just the bottom here where I'm going to put some this ammonium hydroxide 28% into the little tray. And I'm going to lift the plastic and quickly slide it under there, then I'll seal it up. So also what I'm going to do is I've got 2 blocks of wood that are, I just cut them. They're from the same piece. I'm going to leave one out and leave one in. And then after a period of time, I'll pull the one in the tent out and compare it and see how dark it gets. Now, it'll keep getting pretty dark. I built a little plant stand not too long ago, and I left it in a little longer than I expected or intended to, and it came out pretty dark. So I'm going to try not to do that this time and catch it a little early maybe. So here goes. I'm going to wear a face shield and put on some gloves when handling this stuff, because it is really nasty and you should actually have a respirator. But I'm going to just pour it quickly and hold my breath and then tuck it under there. Okay, we'll check back tomorrow morning. It's about 4 p.m. right now. So I've got an early appointment in the morning, so I'll try to get up early and check it in the morning, see how it looks. Okay, it's been in there under the tent for about 14 hours. You can see it's noticeably darker. So I'm gonna go pretty soon, play tennis for 3 or 4 hours. And I think that'll be just right. I don't want to make it too dark. And that looks pretty good. Okay, it's been in the tent for about 22 hours now. And you can see I just pulled this out a few minutes ago. And I coated it with, wiped down a little bit of Danish oil. Watco Danish oil, natural with no pigment in it. And I think that looks pretty good. I'm gonna remove the tent, rather have it a little lighter than too dark. So we'll go ahead and take it out. Okay, here's what it looks like. And you can see, the one piece I put a little clear on, it darkens, it brings out the color much more, so it looks a little lighter but that's how it's basically going to look when I oil it. I may add a little stain to it, we'll see. But the one thing I knew this was going to happen is that one piece of sapwood, which was, you know, obvious before and up there too, now becomes really obvious because the sapwood does not have the tannic acid that reacts with the ammonia. So I'm probably going to get a small paintbrush and darken that up with some dye and shellac, and we'll make it less noticeable. But even that doesn't matter that much. The way the dresser's going to go in the bedroom, that's going to be kind of against the wall, but I'll try to fix that up too. So anyway, that came out pretty good. And now I'll just start putting the oil finish on. Here it is with one coat of Watco Danish wood oil on it. So actually, it's what I did is I didn't use just clear or natural. I mixed it with 50% clear or natural and 50% dark walnut. And I think it just, for me, it just came out perfect. So I know, you know, stain is a matter of choice, of color and preference, but this is exactly the way I hoped it came out. So really, really happy. So the only problem is, you know, again, this is what happens when you don't cut everything from the same piece of wood, or it could have been a different log or whatever. But that piece is a little lighter here. Then again, we've got the same problem over here where it has some of that sapwood in. And again, I was kind of running out of wood. And you know, if you don't use that, you wind up just throwing that away or using it for something else, and you have to pull out a new board somehow and cut the new piece from it. So I left that in thinking it wouldn't look too bad. But when you fume it, that sapwood just doesn't have the tannic acid, and it becomes even more pronounced. So I'm not real happy with that right now, but I gotta experiment and see how I can darken that. I was just watching something, a guy used a gel stain. Pretty much after it's done, you put the gel stain on and wipe it off, and it does leave, you know, the color on the surface there. So I might experiment with that and buy a can of that and play around, see what I can do. But other than that, everything looks really good to me, so I'm really happy with it. So I'm just going to give it at least 3 more rub downs and coats, and maybe even more, who knows. So then the final will be again with paste wax, and in the past what I've done is use 4/0 steel wool and rub it down with the paste wax, and that gives it a real nice burnish and makes it look really fine. So after I go through the next few steps, I'll come back and video the result. But I've got a ways to go because I have to wait about 10 days for the hardware to get here. So I can just take my time with finishing it and just waiting for the hardware. I might point out too is that the design, what I did with the backsplash, is I cut a little taper on both sides. So it was supposed to be flat, but I just thought the taper would look good, so I just did that. So whatever, just my own preference, so that's what I did. Just sealing up the insides and outsides of the drawers with some mix of just shellac, cut 50-50 with alcohol just to thin it. So this is just to seal it up, and we're going to wax the outside of the drawers to make them glide, the outside and the bottoms and the tops. And I think the shellac will just help seal it a little bit and help the wax to stay on the surface. Finally getting around to putting the drawers in. So what I've done is I've coated them with 50-50 shellac out of the can with denatured alcohol to seal it. So now I'm just going to give it a quick hit with the 220 sandpaper. Slide them in. Okay. Drill little counter sink, pre-drill. Put a little flathead brass screw. There we have it. Oops. All done. I'm about to put the final layer of finish coat on, and just to recap where I'm at now is I put 3 coats of Watco Danish oil. And since this is what I had on hand, natural and dark walnut, I mixed the two together just to make it a little bit darker. So I put on 3 coats of that, wiped it off, let it dry. Then, so far, I've put 1 coat of this Sam Maloof Oil wax finish. And what this is, it's a combination of linseed oil, tung oil, and Caranuba wax. So there's 1 coat on there, and I'm going to give it 1 more, and then the final finish will be just pure paste wax. What I like to do is put it on with 4/0 steel wool and just kind of burnish it, and that makes it for a real glassy, smooth finish. And it's sort of a satin sheen right now, but once I burnish it with the paste wax, it'll have a real nice glow to it. So we're just about at the final step here. I'm going to do this, and then comes the paste wax. And really, I'm just waiting for the hardware to arrive. It's now October 10th, and it's supposed to be here on October 15th. So I'll put all the drawer pulls on, and then it will be complete. So with this, I just dip a little oil on the steel wool here. A little bit too much. Yeah, the directions say to steel wool at first with 4/0, then rub it vigorously with a rag, and then wipe the stuff on with a rag, and then immediately wipe it off. But I've always done it this way. Put it on with the steel wool and kind of rub it in. I think doing it this way might fill the pores a little bit better. I don't know, but it seems to come out really good. I've done a lot of furniture projects either using this as a final coat or just continuing with the Watco. And I'm always pleased with the way it comes out. You know, you put just enough coats on it, and it just builds up ever so slightly. And at the end, when you put the final finish with the wax, it just really has a beautiful glow to it where you can kind of see through it to the wood. It doesn't look like it's sitting on the wood, but the wood just really has a beautiful luster to it. So, and even like on our dining room table, I've done this several times, and sometimes you know, that table gets a lot of use, and just put a little bit more oil and wax on it again, and it you can just kind of rejuvenate it. And this does say that this product can be used as a rejuvenator for existing finishes as well. So there's a lot of ways to skin the cat here. So, and I read a lot about it, and everybody's got different ideas, and try this, try that, and I do this, I do that. So there's a lot of ways to go. You just pretty much do what works for you. Okay, so that's good. And just get a rag and just wipe it off completely. Just like that. I say it even looks good just like that, but it's going to look even better with the paste wax on it. We're down the home stretch now. I'm just about to put on the hardware. So here's what we have. And so I've already adjusted my square, tightened it so I can just place it easily on these small drawers, and I'll have to recalibrate again for the big drawers. Okay, right on the money there. I'll just clamp that in place. Okay, this little device here centers it into the screw hole. As you push on it, it exposes the drill. 3/32 drill. So they have these little square screws. So I'll just put a little beeswax on there. Start them off by hand. Okay, then it just so happens that a 9/32 socket will fit right on there, and I put a little masking tape on it so as not to mar the surface. So we'll just screw it down quickly with this. And I'll just finish it off. Same thing with a box end with the tape on it. It's just so I can feel it a little bit better when it's getting tight. I don't want to make it too tight. That's all there is to it. Well, here it is, all finished. Okay, see that nice satin glow from the, 4 coats of oil finish and final couple of coats of paste wax. And the other other thing, if you guys remember that streak in the middle, I darkened that up pretty good so it's not quite so pronounced. So that's it. It's still in the spare bedroom here because this is where I've been doing the waxing and final coats of finish. So I'll move it into its permanent home tonight. Drawers, very nice. And of course, you've seen the dovetails already. So that's it. It's done. And I'm pretty happy with it. So don't know what my next project will be, but we'll be doing something else pretty soon.